What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Code, DCU Penn's finest. Chris has a game today, so we're just going to wrap up the prospect rankings. Just me and Danny today. Offensive line, defensive line, that includes edges, and tight ends. So got a pretty loaded episode, but probably won't run too long since it's just the two of us. Before we start anything, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications so you don't miss a single upload from any of the great shows on this network. Audio listeners, make sure you leave a like, 5-star if you download the episode, all the good stuff to keep pushing that algorithm. But let's just get it started with Summit to Plummets with Danny.
Yeah, I think it's pretty evident at this point. DC lifts is back to Summit. Bringing back the lifting account. Been dormant for about 2 years now, so we're back, locked and loaded, ready to go. Yeah. It's big Summit. Really weird Plummet. Whatever the weird beef between Jalen Hurts and Lil Uzi.
I don't think it's real, but
I don't know if it's real or not. But whatever it is, I'm not a fan of it. So,
what if it's not an actual beef? Then it's very funny.
If it's not an actual beef, it's just hilarious. But it's because it's so ambiguous, I don't like it.
Yeah, you never know what's going through.
He posted 3 stories. Like at that point, it's got to be fake.
Yeah,
or he's like
they're a strange one. They're a strange one for sure. I'd probably say Summit. It's game day eve. Can't be mad at that. The way playoffs line with a potential win, and we're going to need a little bit of help. Might crack a top 4 seed. We may. But regardless, going to go out there, have fun. All that matters. Just go out there and have fun. Win, lose, or draw.
Apparently, so it can be a Summit, I guess, because the owner of the league texted me and said, would you be cool if my team had a sub tomorrow? I'm down half a squad right now because Chestnut Hill is on Easter break. I'm also trying to find someone that has a ball because half my team doesn't own a ball.
Hey, we're not taking them lightly. No.
No, we're not taking anyone lightly. But if they're short players, cannot complain.
Won't complain. Live to see another day and whatnot. But yeah, game day eve and double Summit. We just did like a lot of shopping for Puerto Rico. Got some pretty nice stuff. So,
always good.
Shorts are back for sure.
For some people, not me.
Yeah, certainly. We couldn't dress differently if we tried. So,
man, look, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is back. The Power Balance, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is back in the big 2025. The Power Balance necklaces are back as well.
Okay, we're not letting Andrew McCutcheon get away with this.
So literally, you're in line. You're not way.
Jorts have been back for a couple years though on the fashion side of things.
Now you got to be a certain personality to pull some jorts, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I dressed 2 different ways this weekend alone. I dressed up, turtleneck, dress pants, really looked like fly guy. Next day was super casual, sweater and some jeans. I think you make the clothes. You don't let the clothes make you. That's just me. Yeah, fashion is meant to be recycled. Everything comes back at some point. Everything falls out of fashion. Everything comes back. Joggers, they fell out of fashion a while ago. They'll probably make their way back. They'll find their way back. The only thing I question that might be on its way back is skinny jeans. Don't think they'll make their way back. But then again, baggy jeans have made their way back. So
my problem is all my jeans have always been skinny jeans because they don't fit me.
But yours aren't like Atlanta jeans though. I know your feel where like jeans are like kind of tight around the thighs.
I could get loose.
They bottom out a little bit.
Literally, I have to get extra large jeans, or I have to get like jeans that actually fit me, just like hug my legs.
I feel the pain.
Any ex-athlete that's 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, they get the pain for sure. But let's get this prospect review started. Starting with the offensive linemen. Got a pretty good group with honestly relatively a lot of a lot of the same issues on the guys that I looked at.
Yeah, so number one offensive tackle is Travis Hunter.
Yes, yeah, of all of our prospect reviews, yes, Travis Hunter he's just the best at everything, actually.
So
If he bulked
actually,
up a little bit, he could be a left tackle in our league.
I did want to say, I was having a discussion with somebody earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Hunter is the best player to come out of college in the last 20 years, and that's a stat.
Last 20 years, no. Andrew Luck came out of college the last 20 years, so
Andrew Luck's awesome, but he's not.
Andrew
He
Luck will
can't
go
do what
Andrew Luck
he
would
can't do what
go
Travis Hunter does.
number one overall in
He's a
every draft
quarterback
like ever.
because he's a quarterback.
Because he's a better prospect. He's in
I just think
a class where Cam Ward is quarterback one. If Travis Hunter is incapable of going one, he's it's if you don't got the juice to overpower a Cam Ward led quarterback class, then I don't know what to tell you. Really, he's up there though. He's up there though. I think if you broke down the 21st century, he could be like just prospects. He could probably be a top 5 pick. Brady wouldn't count. Of course, in hindsight, we would take Brady 1, but no, Brady's still going. Should have went
how
day
high.
3, say day 3.
How high Jalen Ramsey go?
How high is Jalen Ramsey going? I mean, he's day 2 pick, maybe. I mean, he was that guy coming out of Florida State. I mean, you tell me.
I mean, yeah, I'm saying that because he seems like future Eagle to me.
Yeah.
Eagles get rid of Slay, looking for a boundary corner.
I think it might be time for safety for that guy. But let's talk about
Any one of those two.
Let's talk about the tackles. Who did you have as your tackle or your offensive lineman one?
I think the best offensive lineman in this draft is Will Campbell. I don't think it's close. I think he's in his own tier, to be completely honest. He got measured with short arms, whatever.
Yeah.
Look, Pete Skoronski was measured with quote unquote short arms. It didn't matter. He's profiled as a guard. Will Campbell's just he played in the SEC. He had to deal with SEC talent. He held his own. He's an awesome player. If he was going against like Mountain West talent, might be like, yeah, this guy might not be that great, but he played at LSU. Played a national championship team. Not a national championship team. Sorry, he played with Jaden Daniels. He protected his blind side. So, yeah, give me Will Campbell's tackle one.
Yeah, Will Campbell's my offensive lineman one as well, and I don't see the same. Like Skoronski, it's like no one was doubting that he was good offensive lineman. It was just kind of like you could be a decent tackle or you could be like potentially a Hall of Fame guard. And I think that's kind of what made him eventually plug inside. But with Will Campbell, it's just like he's just going to be great regardless. And I think him on the outside protecting at quarterback's blind side is where he belongs. He plays with probably the best first step of the class. I think he's got great hands. Leverage is great. I think the only thing I would say about him is in space, it could get a little funky with like super duper athletes, but that's like the top end talent of the league. So I'm not like no one can handle them unless you're like Lane Johnson. But yeah, I got him. I got about offensive lineman one. Not particularly close, but I do like my top 3 guys a lot, and I think there is a reasonable fall off after that. I will say that.
I agree. I think they're all tackles as well. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So I think number 2 is Armand Membo for me. Probably the highest ceiling based on his physical freak of nature that he is. I think he could very well go top 10 and be the upside tackle. Like, look, the Jets aren't taking a tackle because they just took what's his name, Olu Fashanu out of Penn State last year. Like retrospectively, I don't know if they make that pick a year later.
Yeah.
Without Aaron Rodgers on the team.
They
might. I don't know because Tyron Smith left and he retired today, so maybe. But yeah, I think Membo is going to be that kind of Fashanu type high upside. You know what you're getting, but like he has some things to work on. He's just a physical freak of nature, though.
Yeah, so I had I had Membo at my lineman 3. The only thing I'm a little worried about, I think he's an absolute freak in nature. I like the fluidity. I like the first step. Um, my only problem, he just needs a lot of technical refinements, I would say.
Yeah,
So
that's
drive
for damn sure.
blocking, tag blocking, those are things he could work on. And if he gets to like a really good offensive line coach or just a great culture that really emphasized building up the trenches, I mean he's going to be a Pro Bowler for years to come. Um, I feel a little bit stronger um, about uh, Kelvin Banks out of Texas. Sorry, my handwriting's horrible. Uh, with Kelvin Banks, it's I guess this is like the offensive lineman version of like Stroud Richardson. It's like, would you rather get the low ceiling guy or the or high floor low ceiling guy or vice versa? Except I do think he has a high ceiling. I think he's very technically sound. This is kind of where like Membo is the freak of nature. Uh, Banks is technically refined, not like the greatest athlete in the world. But I like his technique. I think he'll be able to contribute much faster right away. If we were banking on potential, I'd probably put Membo at 2 or 1. But I just think that Kelvin is a little bit more of a sure thing. So that's why I have him at 2. There was one thing. The one thing I
That's
was
interesting.
he is a little bit more than like a his arms are a little bit more of a concern than Campbell's because he definitely didn't play that as good as Campbell did in my opinion. So guard could potentially be he could be like our Skoronski of this class too. But I think you at least let him hang. Let him see find out if he can play some
Well,
NFL
for
tackle.
that reason, I actually like Josh Simmons as my third offensive lineman instead of Kelvin Banks.
Okay.
I think Josh Simmons, to be completely honest with me, tackle matters more than guard.
Yeah.
It's such a high value position. The fact that the Eagles just got a busted tackle and made him get a big contract, like proves that how much harder tackle is than guard.
Yeah.
And no, shout out to Mekhi Becton for that. But like the reality is, I think if you're coming into the draft and there's a question, oh, is this guy a tackle or guard? You kind of want to take a little step back and be like, oh,
I think
which
that's fair. But here's what I'll say with those two. Kelvin, I will take the potential. Is he going to be a tackle? Is he going to be a guard? Because regardless, he's going to be on my offensive line for years to come. With Simmons, we have two glaring issues. I have him as my offensive lineman 5. Um, we have two glaring issues. One, he can't keep his hands to himself. In like the worst way possible. Lots of penalties this year. And 2, just injury concerns. Those are the only 2 that stand out for me, really, though, because I mean, like I watched him play great against Penn State. He played great against Michigan. You're not going to see, much better defensive lines in those 2. So when called upon, in the biggest moments, he played great. Now, if he can just, be a little bit more consistent with that first hand and pass pro, if he can, learn to keep the hands in tight, pad level consistent, then I think we're looking at a great player. No, but I do see your perspective. He plays a more valued position. He's for sure going to be a tackle. But even worse than Membo, it's like you got a lot to work on with Josh Simmons. But
yeah,
it's a risk worth discussing, I would
yeah,
say.
for sure, I can get behind that. And I think, like I said, Kelvin Banks is my 4. My number 5 might be a little surprising, but it's Tyler Booker out of Bama. I think
Can't go wrong with the SEC boys, I would say.
he's a true guard. Played Bama for a minute. Um, he's gonna play like you said. These if you played SEC or Pac-12, well, the no longer Pac-12, but if you played those, I feel like you just know how to play football, and especially them boys up front, like they run the ball.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't watch too much of Booker. But what I would say is when watching other Alabama prospects, was seeing him. The one thing I noticed is that he is a little, I think, a little inconsistent in run blocking, but damn, he could throw a down block, and it comes at you hard. Um, the
That's
only
what I
thing I
was
think,
really impressed by. I
yeah,
think if you can get some power running, if you like a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers in round two or like if this guy starts to slip a little bit,
yeah,
you like a bruiser in space, you like running screens, go get him.
yeah, and I would say his height could be like if need be. I don't think his arm. I think his arms would be like fine for a tackle if he ever had to do it. Height is fine. I think he's a great pass protector. That could be the a plus of playing inside. But I like his anchor. I think he sets a good base in those situations. So uh, yeah, I definitely I like that pick. I like that pick. My four, because we already went over my five and Josh Simmons. Gray Zabel, North Dakota State University. That he is like as I think as it's cliche North Dakota State, right? Hard nosed football school, but he really is. He is probably not the biggest guy of this group, I would say. But I enjoy him in the run game. I enjoy him in pass pro. Um, and I will say he is the I would probably say besides Campbell, I think this is the most technically refined tackle of the group. I mean, the first step is great. The hands are great. Um, and really the first punch and pass pro. The only thing I put down that I really wasn't that big on him, what was it? I think the only thing I had was the anchor is a little bit inconsistent. So the pad level thing could be a little bit better for inside, but I trust him as a tackle. I think that's something he can work on. So I have him at my four, but I do
That's
like your
fair.
Booker pick, and I would definitely even consider Booker over Simmons if I looked at him a little bit more. But I didn't look at too many
Yeah, I
offensive
love Booker,
linemen.
and
Yeah, yeah,
I guess
and reasonably so.
you said what's his name's at your five, so
Yeah, Simmons.
so I guess I can get to a few of my deep cuts.
Go ahead.
Number one, Seth McLaughlin at Ohio State. If you watched any minute of the college football playoff and watched Ohio State's run game, yes, they're both their top two running backs to average 5 yards a carry. Is it because they're good? Yes. Is it because their offensive line gets 6 yard holes? Also true. Um,
Yeah, they got two guys flirting on for day three. So
Taking
yeah,
anybody off the Ohio State offensive line, granted, their signal caller and their center, this guy's projected to be like a fifth round pick, fourth round pick. I think it could be the steal of
be
the
a day
draft.
could be a day three gem. Seriously,
Yeah,
um, I agree. I'll say here's the sleeper I wrote down. It is Marcus Embo, out of Purdue. Um, just an athletic specimen, can move laterally with I think anyone in this class. Um, and I think what I think his future might hold might not be as like your traditional tackle. He might be just a guy that can. Your guard goes down, you throw in Marcus. Your center goes down, you throw in Marcus. Your tackle goes down, throw in Marcus. Either side, I think he has that kind of potential to just be a very serviceable swing offensive lineman. Yeah, and he's a lot lighter on his feet than most of the people I watched, which is great. To go along, like I said, the side to side agility. I think Embo could be he's probably going to be like a day two. I believe probably on round three. He's going to make a team happy. I think finding a solid backup or maybe even a starting offensive lineman on that day is always great.
yeah, I like that pick a lot. Last person I really want to mention, deep sleeper as a guard, Tate Bradledge. Uh, this guy played at Georgia. Reminds me a lot of Quinn Miners, Broncos legend. He just plays hard nosed football. If you know anything about Georgia, their offensive line is really a staple of their team the last few years. He's going to play hard-nosed football, like I said. And I think he might be like the Quinn Miners, but except Quinn Miners went to a small school, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
But I feel like no one's really looking at the Georgia offensive line like they used to anymore. After they had like an offensive tackle go in the first round the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Granted, those offensive tackles turned out to be Amarius Mims and Broderick Jones. So.
Yeah. But that's our offensive line. I got a pretty good talk out of that. But let's move to defensive line, where we are going to get real serious as one of the best players in this class. I think one of the 3 best prospects in this class resides at our number 1.
Yeah.
Penn State's Abdul Carter.
I think he's the second best prospect in the class. Only behind Travis Hunter, to be completely honest. But and I love Cam Ward, but he's not better. Cam Ward's not better than Abdul Carter.
Yeah, if Will Levis just provided just a little bit better, a little bit more promise, we're looking at like Carter or Hunter going 1 here. So, I mean, what's the thing when we talking about prospects with like, oh, he's new to this position, he only has 10 games under his belt at this position. Abdul Carter had played about 15 games at edge, and he was the best defensive player in the nation, aside from Travis Hunter. So I can't wait to see what he's going to be in the NFL. The bend is great, sideline to sideline. If he needs to play a little bit of Micah Parsons, linebacker, edge hybrid, he can do it. He's great on twist. I mean, I can't say enough good things about Abdul Carter, to be entirely honest. Watch him all year, be an absolute freak.
There's one thing that sometimes I feel like his counter moves stall up. That's my only knock on him. Like sometimes when he goes to a counter, sometimes if he's against a bigger, stronger tackle, I've seen him get stalled up. That's something you can work on in the NFL, just because you're a physical freak.
Yeah, and that's something with the experience. It's like, okay, you're taught to go in with a plan. It's like, oh, my plan didn't work. Now, lucky for him, his plan A is going to work about 85% of the time. So
yeah,
developing that counter move, like you said, very important.
Yeah, because like you see some of the greats like Parsons, like T.J. Watt, like Micah Parsons, like Myles Garrett. They go in there. Sometimes they go in there try to swim move, and they spin off of it and go sack the quarterback.
You're meeting the guard. you're meeting the guard, or ref doesn't really care, and tight end's watching you out. But
the only other thing will say, he is a bit Hassan Reddick coated, and he's kind of undersized.
A little bit. I will say the big difference between the two is Big Ten versus where was Temple? I don't think Temple wasn't in the American yet. I think they might have been Big East.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Whatever. Regardless.
Yeah, Temple versus Big Ten. I know. But the point is, the 2 outcomes for him in his career are Hassan Reddick and Micah Parsons.
Yeah, which I think Hassan Reddick floor is not the end of the world, but
no, it's not. It's not a bad career either. So, especially because he played off-ball linebacker for the first 4 years of his career.
Yeah. And now the funny thing about this is like edge and defense, interior. So it's going to be a pretty funky list. But I think my rifle 2, if we're taking both into consideration, would be Michigan's Mason Graham, who will probably be the next lineman on either side of the ball to go next after Carter goes 2 or 3 to the Browns or the Giants.
Yo, you know something crazy? I could see Graham going as high as 3.
It could happen. It could happen. He's a force to be reckoned with, and on an underwhelming Michigan team this year, he was him and Will Johnson were absolutely the highlights.
We really got some of the most AI generated names this year in the draft. Mason Graham.
Yep.
We got Tyler Warren, Will Campbell, like Mike Green. These are some of the most Will Johnson. Some of the most AI generated names I've ever heard.
Yeah. But I will say with Johnson, I like the power he plays with. I like the leverage he plays with. There were times like later in games where the leverage would be just a little iffy. If that's a conditioning thing, throw it out the window in the NFL because he's going to be rotating anyway, regardless where he goes. Um, so, um, big fan of him. I know he's an interior line, but I think his pass rush arsenal could use a little work. But digress. Best run defender in the class. Um, kind of
Yeah,
has that wrestler type uh, mentality. You
wish
know,
I could argue with anything you just said because you did not speak a word of non-ball. Because it's
non-ball. I mean, he's an easy guy to root for, in my opinion. He's just a guy who it's evident. He knows what he's doing out there. He's a natural born football player. So
yeah, for sure.
salute to him. Now here's where things start to get a little interesting. Um, at number 3, I may be projecting a little bit. Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart's my 3. That now we're talking about two. Like we just said, Carter needs to work on a counter move, and Mason Graham, not the end of the world, could work on his pass rush a little bit. Shamar Stewart needs to work on his pass rush all the way. Um, Let me get the negatives out the way first. The hand fighting's bad. The bend isn't the best, and the pass rush technique just overall isn't great.
Welcome back to the
However,
league, Jadeveon Clowney.
yes, maybe not like the hyper freak athlete that Clowney was, but third best defensive lineman in the class being Jadeveon Clowney as your ceiling, that's a W. It means you're a great run defender, one of the best we've seen in a decade.
You might be a dirty
I'm
player.
not saying he is. I'm saying he's Clowney, but great run defender. I think he's the tools to learn more pass rush IQ. I think is the best way to put it. Um, the sacks weren't there when he was, with the Aggies, but I like him a lot. I like his tools. At bare minimum, you're getting a great run defender, which you can never have too many of. And along with it, you can teach him the ways. I think, if he's to go to a team, you know, in the middle of the first round, back half of the first round, super ideal would be if he could go to Philly. But I don't know if he's not driving that far. So
Yeah, I'm kind of it's gonna be a little weird here.
no, go
I'm
ahead.
going to take Michael Williams.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
I think he is an underhyped Trayvon Walker. Very raw.
Or what
Kind of
Trayvon
like
Walker should have just been.
some may
Maybe I don't
say.
know.
Yeah. Like Trayvon Walker got the hype because he was awesome as combine and pro day, and I think Michael Williams is basically Trayvon Walker breed. He's a variant. He's gonna come in. He might get you 10 sacks. He's gonna play off ball a little bit. He's gonna play this kind of hybrid linebacker role, and in the right scheme, this guy could be an All-Pro player, in my opinion. He's young. He still has a lot to develop, but he has all the tools. I really like what he did at Georgia. Put on a
Yeah,
really good show.
his versatility made me put him at 4, so I'm not too far off with where you're going. If we're talking pure defensive lineman, I think Shamar Stewart is, probably the guy I would bank on his upside. If we're talking as an overall football player, though, I mean, Michael Williams is he's great. He's great. My only question would be, his pass rush plan, and just reacting to plays, I would say. But overall, everything you said is pretty accurate. So
Yeah,
I
and
wouldn't argue.
Shamar Stewart is my 4. I don't want to speak too much more on Shamar Stewart here.
Yeah. So we have relatively the same top 4. So at 5, I have James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, the alien.
Yeah,
The
that's
very
a good
the
pick.
yeah the just very funny looking guy. Not the typical build for what you would like your edge rusher to look like, but damn it, he gets the job done. He's got the arms, the long arm tackles. He's got the speed to get around the edge. I think the only my only concern is he can get a little bullied in run support. But in the NFL, they pay guys millions of dollars to go out there on pass downs to get the quarterback, and that's a world I can see him living in. Nolan Smith does that. He's not necessarily the biggest guy in the world, and he was the Eagles, I would argue, their MVP on the defensive end, and during that postseason run with all the pressures and the sacks he was able to generate. So that's kind of what I see
Yeah,
with James Pierce a little bit.
I can see that. I mean, I can really see that happening. I just have a different guy at 5.
Go ahead.
And he's not even projected to be in the top 20 in this year's draft. He's projected maybe go 20 at the earliest. And it's Walter Nolan. And it's because the edge rushing class is so deep and people value edges more than tackles. I mean, more than guards. Sorry. Not guards. Why am I saying more than tackles, defensive tackles. Sorry. Yeah. Walter Nolan is going to be a first round pick, and he's going to be an impact player on whatever team he goes to, whether it's I've seen a lot mocked to Pittsburgh. If Shedeur Sanders falls, he's not getting past 21. So it depends if that happens.
Yeah, no, Walter Nolan was first guy off the list. A hell of a player, and I'm glad his stock is starting to rightfully rise.
He's awesome. Phenomenal football player. I could see him being long stand in the NFL for like 10 years. He just plays this like hard nose, really good in the run. It was hard for me to leave him off because he's that good at defending the run and just being a football player. But I do want to go with my 6 and 7, just kind of like right off the list. I can do the same. My 6 is Mike Green. I think overall the best pass rusher in the class outside of Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
Look, it's hard to rank people and include Abdul Carter because he's that good.
Yeah.
So, and then my 7 is James Pierce. I think, like you said, he's the high upside. A little unrefined, a little funky built. So, we'll see. We'll see
the revel of the defensive line group.
But no, I absolutely love this.
Yeah.
And like, look, I can't go wrong with I don't know how to say his last name. Donovan Ezekiel Raku. I have no clue how to say his last name. But
yeah, I'm not going to try it either. Yeah,
Ezir is Rueku. Ezir Rueku? I have no clue. But he is a good football player. All 8 of these guys should be going in the first round.
Like this is a year like if you need trenches, like go for it. Like that's what I would say.
And look, you got guys like Nick Scourton, like Landon Jackson, like Kenneth Grant in the interior. I would load up on second round picks in this draft, and if you need interior or defensive linemen, these guys are all experienced college football players and played at the highest level. To be completely honest, like this SEC, this is Big Ten, this is the top of line talent you can get.
Yeah, and I just want to get my sleeper off. Is Stewart's teammate Nick Scourton. If Stewart is someone who is an elite run defender and just needs to work on the pass, Scourton is like the bizarro version of him sent in from a different universe. Because Scourton has a bag of pass rush moves. Like, that Judkins broken spin move in NCAA, the video game? Think that. He has that. He's great with the hands, chops, swims, rips, two-hand blow-bys. He's just absolutely amazing. At 285 pounds, he can still move that the way he does. It's great stuff. His first step is great. But again, he will be a pass-only down kind of guy. Because he can't defend the run. And I don't. It's one of the things that maybe he could work on. But
Dante Fowler Jr., same player.
Yeah, then that guy's had a NFL career. So I mean, Nick Scourton.
To be honest, he had a great playoff run. He just got signed back to the Cowboys with a decent contract, and yeah,
we're a couple contracts into this thing. If Nick Scourton, if you can land that type of career, baby, bro, you're going to be in a great spot. He was awesome for Texas A&M this year. him and Stewart, I think you're gonna look back at this Aggies defense and be like, dang, we really had to roll out Marcel Reed. He only got to play half the season. For some reason, we have Marcel Reed on the bench, but oh well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a sleeper. See him falling down draft boards, and I hate it. It's Jack Sawyer. Kid can flat out play football. Like just
yeah, Sawyer's one of those people, bro. You just gotta draft him and just believe he can play. Like I promise you, he can play.
Dude, just watch the playoffs. Like you don't need to see that him run a 40. Like he plays football really well. Like
yeah, that's all there really is.
Sometimes it's that simple. Like if you put Kyle Juszczyk on the combine, he might not do that well, but he's a damn good football player.
Yeah, I'd agree. But that's pretty. Do you have any other sleepers, or you just want to move on to the tight ends?
Look, I can't go on without talking about his teammate. Dude, the Ohio State team this year, I think, may go down as one of the best draft classes I've ever seen.
Yeah, they got a lot of
JT.
They got a lot of
Tuamalo.
Tuamalo.
I've seen him make countless plays in the backfield. He felt like he lived in the backfield in every Ohio State game I watched this year.
Tuamalo would have probably went first, second round if he declared last year.
Probably.
It was a complete shock when he came back. I was like, wow, they're really doing the Michigan thing.
Yeah, they did, and they won, and it wasn't fair because they had Ibuka, 22 years old.
Yeah. He wasn't even the biggest problem. No, he's the third biggest problem on the offense alone.
Yep.
So. And the biggest one was 18 years old.
Yep.
LeBron James. But
LeBron.
Yeah, JT's going to be a beast. But let's move on to these. Let's move on to the tight ends. The not the biggest of fellas like the rest of this group, but hey, they still count for something. I can start. This group honestly will probably blow by
tier
one fast.
Let's go tier 1 real quick because there is a tier 1 with 2 players.
I have 2 guys in tier 1. Yep. Tyler Warren, Harold Fannin Jr.
Wow.
Oh, you have Colston Loveland ahead of
Colston Loveland.
Harold Fannin?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
okay, then I'll talk about tier of one of those 3 then.
Because Colston Loveland is all that. He is a legit NFL caliber tight end.
Can I preface something just real quick about this entire group?
Yeah.
None of them can block. Not a single one of them besides Tyler Warren can block. So we are talking about pass catchers here. And Harold Fannin Jr., definitely the most, just because he is the one of the smaller guys of the group. But weight-wise.
Yeah, remember Delaney Walker? How beastly of a cat. Yeah, him. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Welcome back.
Yeah, close enough. Welcome back, Delaney Walker. What a beast.
I do want to mention Colston Loveland. He's my tight end 2. But I have a lot to say about Tyler Warren. I wanted to mention him as Loveland first. Colston Loveland, to me, is like a Zach Ertz breed.
I love that
comparison. He's just like pop over the middle, catch the ball, maybe not break too many tackles, but he's going to be a big body, 6'5", 6'6" target. I can see this guy being on the top 5 tight end in the league in the next 5 years.
Yeah, and he's like the modern tight end, He's the modern tight end. The Yak isn't great, I would say, but he's not duck and cover. He's not duck and smoke. Great hands. All your tight end needs to be a legit vertical threat. And it doesn't have to be outside, but the seam counts as a vertical threat to me. And he is certainly that natural hands.
Little James Ferguson, a little Pat Fryermuth as well.
Yeah, you get where it's you get where it's at. I'm a fan of him. I just had him a little bit below Harold Fannin Jr. when we're talking about Loveland is a great route runner, exceptional athlete for his size, great hands. I see Harold Fannin and I feel just strongly about all of those for him, and I think he's a little bit better in Yak. I'm talking about a guy who I think led all tight ends in receiving yards and whatnot. And like, I don't like to mention college stats like too much because it's just like not the biggest deal in the world. But for me personally, again, a route running technician, got great hands. But you're probably looking at a receiver in the NFL, to be entirely honest. So if you have Loveland over him for that, I'm not mad at it.
Yo, look, this receiver class, to be honest with me, is not that deep.
Yeah, you have like your top guys, and then
your top 5 maybe. Look,
yeah,
when you're debating between taking a late day 2 pick and Harold Fannin, take Harold Fannin, put him in your slot, please.
Yeah, unless you got Ty Feldman, but
look, imagine the Raiders are like, yo, why don't we just run twin tight ends in the slots and then run Michael Mayer on the line.
We can't be mad at it, I'm afraid. What's going to stop them from drafting the top tier tight end talent every single year? They'll just take Tyler Warren. Yep, Tyler Warren. Do that. You have your real authentic tight end that can block, run routes and stuff. You have Bowers. Hey, you're good. Just play slot. We're good. And Michael Mayer, you'll just be our jump ball guy in the end zone.
So Brock Bowers might play out wide.
Seriously, at this rate.
But yeah, Tyler Warren, we can get back to him. He's number 1 tight end in this draft. I think he was getting Heisman looks at one point like last year. He obviously didn't win it, but for the last time a Penn State tight end or tight end in general was getting talked about in the Heisman, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if we were talking to like MVP, if it wasn't like most valuable, but if it was most valuable player, not like most outstanding, like I think
it was him.
Like
what, he had like 20 catches that one game.
Yeah, and he had the game won against Ohio State. Had him won, brought him to the 2-yard line, didn't see the ball again. Unbelievable. The only option in that scenario is wildcat to him 3 times. But you know how it goes.
It's super unfortunate the way they went out with him. Look, I'm not gonna lie. If you look at his like 40, you look at his measurables, he's a freak. His 40 is not crazy though. Like he's not gonna like outrun anybody. He's gonna out physical every single one of his opponents though. No matter who's how tough, how strong, he will out physical you. So if you watch his gameplay, you watch his film, he has a little bit of, reminds me of like a running back version of Hunter Henry.
Okay.
Like if Hunter Henry was a running back and could break tackles and make it had yak, like he's this dude just is huge.
Yeah.
So also, it's gonna sound crazy. Kind of just got to get the ball to him, whether you're doing trick plays, whether you're having him line up at center and run downfield or and moss somebody. Like, just take a shot. He's down there somewhere.
Yeah, he's one of those players where it's like, just get the ball in his hands. Like I could even see him in like a Taysom Hill role, but obviously to a much larger degree, he's way better than Taysom Hill. But
yeah, Taysom's a better quarterback for sure.
I'm not too sure about that, to be entirely honest.
I'm sure about that.
I'm not entirely sure.
And maybe not like 36, 37 years old with Taysom.
When Tyler Warren was loading up to throw the ball, I felt much more confident about him throwing the ball than Drew Aller. I'll say that.
Hey man,
Tyler Warren just hoops. Okay, it's like Mohamed Sanu throwing the ball. It's
not Aller's fault. I promise.
I'm sure.
They have Julian Fleming running routes.
Drew Aller has never dropped back and released with the same mechanics twice.
True. Very true.
So, I'm interested to hear who your first guy out of that tier is. Me personally, I have Mason Taylor out of LSU.
Yeah, I have Elijah Arroyo. I think he's
either one. They're my form.
Very, very, very high potential. They're also Mason Taylor's Jason Taylor's son, right?
Oh,
I think so.
Well, we can start with Elijah.
Yep, I'm right because I searched up Mason Taylor because Jason Taylor's son is literally what pops up. I remember reading about that earlier this year. So Elijah Arroyo for me is my 4. He played in a high flying Miami offense. Seems like he might be. It's either him or Restrepo is going to be the ETN to Cam Ward. They might go, hey, can my buddy come play with me? Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, well,
it might be the Cam Ward asking for his CJ Stroud, Tank Dell
type of thing.
look. Did the Titans need a tight end? Maybe they could use one. So I really do love Arroyo here. He plays this kind of like he's able to block. He is better at blocking, probably in my opinion, the best at blocking out of all of these guys.
Yeah, if one of them we would consider good at blocking, it'd be him.
And he played in his Miami offense. Look, he didn't get that many touches because they had Restrepo, who in my deep cutter, like I said earlier, like Xavier Restrepo is awesome. I just can't take Xavier Restrepo hate to heart. And yeah, Arroyo was a crucial part of this team. So definitely see him being an impact player in the NFL.
Yeah. Arroyo is someone, him and I can say a couple of things about him and Taylor. Both of them really good at finding the soft spots in zone. Both of them are just very natural, like seam runners, over the middle guys, great hands. I think Arroyo is a little bit better of a blocker. What I like about Taylor is I think he reminds me, a little bit more Selleck-esque, just finding that soft spot, be able to settle down. But those two are, they're my 4 and 5. I don't have too much to add on about
He
them.
did play just 11 games during 2022 and 2023 due to knee injury.
Yeah, the injury concern is probably why I ended up, the way I ranked him. But
yeah, and hard to not put Nepo baby Mason Taylor. I'm kidding. When you're NFL down in your bloodline, it's like, there you go, you are elite genetics.
Yeah. And who are we to hate on it? That's the goal at the end of the day.
Last time that happened out of LSU, we had Thad Moss. So,
yeah. Do you have a sleeper you wanted to share?
Yeah,
I can start with mine just because I have mine up. I'm gonna pick Iowa tight ends until the day I die. Luke Lachey or Luke Lakey, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. Out of Iowa. While I see your typical things about a tight end, good zone finder, good body control, good hands. It's more so that you don't get a chance to play football on the offensive end when you go to Iowa. So I'm more so projecting that he won't be Sam Laporta. Let me not say that, but I think he'll shock everybody. We'll look back at this tight end class, and he'll be one of the top guys. I truly believe that. But he'll
see that
probably be day 3. Type of guy, maybe late day 2, but probably day 3.
Yeah, and I talked about this a lot earlier this year. How Kyle McCord was good for a reason. Syracuse had some really, really good playmakers. So Oronde, what's his last name? Gadsden. Yeah, his mouth pulls a second. They're just gonna call him OG2 probably.
Yeah, we'll just go with that.
When he gets playing time, they're gonna call him OG2. So this guy, yeah, he has all the upside in the world. And I think when you're talking tight ends, you really want to talk upside. You don't see the field unless you have this freak of nature upside or some innate ability to just do something really well. Darnell Washington, really good blocker, really physical freak, sees the field as a tight end too. If you're a really good pass catcher, you could probably see the field as a tight end too. So you have to have some ability. Grant Calcaterra, very, very good at everything. Just happens to play behind Dallas Goedert. So,
yeah.
You look at. I think this guy could be a freak on a good team, especially coming out of Syracuse, which is like a slept-on football school at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, they got a couple guys going to the NFL,
Yeah.
So, any other guys you wanted to talk about?
That's really all for tight end. The tight end group's really like pretty light this year. We
Yeah.
have a couple top guys and everything. Everyone else, Jackson Halls could be interesting out of Georgia Tech, but I don't have too much to say
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah. Well, that is all the prospect rankings for you guys. Again, if you missed all the other ones, they're on this channel. Make sure you go find them along with all the other great shows. Remember, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, do all what you've been doing. Leave a like, 5-star review. Push that algorithm for us. AP New Freezer, DC Comics. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.